I'm John Jenkinson. Glad that you are here with us today to get into these markets, talk about all of this. By the way, you can join my colleague and good friend, Mr. Marlon Bowling, this evening, as well as Zach Troutman, on Rural Radio, channel 147 on Sirius XM for the evening edition of Commodity Rep. They'll be talking about these markets here today, and the markets have been kind of quiet. Let's find out what the news was that first shook the market here this morning, and that was the export sales. In fact, soybeans and corn came in above 1 million metric ton, both of those. Now, of course, this is for this marketing year and next marketing year as well. Corn, 1.63 million metric ton. The trade was estimating anywhere from 800,000 to as high as 2.1 million metric tons. So there was a wide range of guesses here as to where this corn number may come in at. Came in just right about in the middle of all of that, maybe or toward the top end of it. The soybeans, 600,000 to 1.35 million was the estimate, 1.10 million, so kind of toward the upper end of the range. Soybean meal, 120,200 metric ton. Soybean oil, 9,500 metric ton. That was kind of on the low end of the trade estimates. And the wheat, 353,300 metric ton. And that was almost dead center of the estimates. The rest of that weekly export sales numbers show us that grain sorghum was at 49,700 metric ton. Upland cotton, 331,400 running bales, and rice at 28,200 metric ton. One of the things I want to point out about most of these sales, these export sales, was China did show up for corn. They showed up for sorghum. They also showed up for wheat as well and soybeans this time around. Then a bit later on this morning, we had the overnight export sale. This one again goes to China. This one again is of soybeans, 198,000 metric ton, and soybean oil this time around, 20,000 metric ton. Both of those go to China. But so far over in the markets, and we'll start in the corn market here, it's been a pretty quiet day so far. And it shows up in these numbers here with July down to 316 and a quarter. December is down 2 1/4 at 330 and a quarter. On to the soybean market we go, and the July is down a half. The November is down a quarter at 845 and a quarter. Keep in mind that these May contracts, this is the last trading day for those. So July, Chicago wheat is up 3/4, but the rest of the contracts on the lower side. Kansas City wheat July down 2 1/4 at 452. All of those contracts are on the lower side. And July Minneapolis wheat up 3 3/4 at 512. Brian Hoops here with us this morning with Midwest Market Solutions. So the market's pretty quiet here this morning. Spring wheat's the only thing that really shows any signs of optimism.
Yeah, you know, it is. It's putting in a little bit of a premium here, John, as we're taking some of it away out of Chicago and Kansas City. So we're seeing some spread unwinding. And as we get into the middle of May here, you know, our spring wheat planting is well behind normal. And a lot of the areas that are expected to be put into wheat are going to struggle as they're very wet in North Dakota, northern South Dakota. There's still some corn sitting out in fields from last year that haven't been able to be harvested. And so a lot of these acres may end up just going into prevent plant. And so some of that will be corn, some will be spring wheat, maybe a few soybeans as well. But Minneapolis coming off of its lows, and most of that, as I said, was unwinding spreads from Chicago, Kansas City against that Minneapolis contract.
All right. And also the cotton market here on this Thursday, here about mid-session. We've got the December new crop up 31 points at 57.63. Brian, I want to get into this livestock trade with you, and we're going to do that coming up next. Stay with us here on the Market Day Report. In the market world, the numbers are very important. So let's look at those important numbers over here in the live cattle market. June is our front month, and we've got the $94 range right here is where we're trading at right now. The low is $93.20, so we're 80 cents off of the low. We're up 12 pennies. However, August is down 127 at 97.15. And you take both of those numbers, that's still a steep discount to where we have traded cash this week so far. October down 155, just under an even buck a pound here. In the feeder cattle market, We're down to $1 and a nickel on the May. August down 160, September down 160. So pretty consistent across the board there. In the hogs today, May and June are both higher. May's up 52, June's up 47. But now the July is down 70 at 58.42. I was talking about that discount there in the cattle trade. That discount has hung around there for quite some time. And we can almost say, Brian, that we're halfway through this month. Somebody's going to have to move here pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. The boxes are starting to weaken a little bit here, and that's not unexpected. When you start to increase your slaughter, that's when the box beef will start to get hurt. And we're slowly increasing that slaughter numbers. It's well behind last year's pace, but ahead of the last 2 weeks, and we're safely returning some workers back to the plants and the processing. But it's probably never going to get back to where it was. Steer weights just came out here, and they're up 2 pounds from last week, and so we're about 38, 39 pounds heavier than a year ago. That extra supply of backed up cattle at heavier weights is going to be, a burden for us to work through this entire summer. And so, it's going to be a struggle, I think, to add to higher cash prices and add to the futures market gains as we go into June, July.
What do you think of this hog complex then? Can it hold its own at this point?
Well, kind of the same fundamentals at work there. The hog weights came out yesterday. They jumped 3.5 pounds from 1 week, and now we're 9 pounds heavier than a year ago, and we're probably going to see more of that news coming out, the increased weights. It's going to be hard, to get that slaughter capacity back up to where it was that we need to be until we start adding hours and increasing size of plants or adding some new plants. Otherwise, this market is, again, probably going to struggle to maintain, strengthen the cash markets into the summer months.
All right, Brian, always appreciated. Christina, there we go. As Brian mentioned, still a little bit of uncertainty and volatility ahead in these markets.